The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us.
Mom always used to say, hey, it's 9:01.
That's funny. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Tuesday, February 25th. And today is, you're going to love this one, Todd. It's National Clam Chowder Day.
Nice. Not
Yes.
the red clam chowder or the white clam chowder?
Probably the white clam chowder. You know what I mean? The red one's kind of whack. Travis, we need you to turn your phone sideways. There we go. There you go. Perfect, buddy. Perfect. It's also National Chocolate Covered Nut Day. I guess that's the day
Nice.
for Rico right there. Chocolate covered nut. Mm-hmm.
Hey, man.
Yep. There he is. Speak of the devil.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who doesn't like chocolate covered nuts, man?
Mm-hmm. People that are allergic.
On that subject, can we say the B word in this podcast?
It's been first 10 minutes we're not allowed to cuss.
Yeah. First 10 minutes, bro. First, just ease on in. Ease on in.
What's the B word?
Yeah. Oh, I
My
see what.
article, I'm going to call him a
Yeah, well,
Democrat.
hold on, whoa. You're gonna have your time, Travis. Just relax. Just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's also election day here in Southern California, and so trigger Yarrow for a minute because I want to make sure that everyone votes and gets out the vote for my guy Tony Strickland, California Senate today. So
No.
yes. If
No.
you're in Southern California, make sure that you get
No.
out and vote for him. Yeah.
Both the opposite of what Jason tells me.
Did you mute me?
Yeah, do not listen to Jason Beck for any voting
I
advice.
just hear that somebody was trying to quell dissent and not have the participatory democracy they profess to love. Because I think the key here is
You were never muted.
own-
You were never muted.
You never, because you can't mute a man like me. And the key to a participatory democracy is an informed populace.
Mhm.
And while I celebrate your right to endorse Mr. Strickland, I also celebrate my right to have Googled his track record on women's right to reproductive.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing,
choice.
Yarrow. This is the thing. This show is about life. The plan is all about life, and you are promoting death.
That is a curious take on civil liberties when it comes to women.
It's promoting death.
So just make sure when you vote, you see what the proposed person that you're going to put in office, see what their track record is. So I just looked at his track record when it came to that one issue, and
Because that's the that's the only issue you care about.
It's the one that's most pressing for society. But what I was gonna
That
just
is
say
ridiculous.
It's clear that his track record on that is not fair and balanced.
Oh, gee.
Shocking. He must have an R next to his name.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a hater. It's
The
okay.
R stands for regressive. So anyway, if
Rapist.
you care about women's rights, care about who you vote for.
Yeah, and again, everybody, just remember. Remember, today, get out and vote for my man, Mr. Tony Strickland, for California Senate, and help make California golden again, you guys.
No.
Yes. And on that, we are going to roll right into the dope dad himself who's playing his appropriate song, Because, you know what I'm saying? That's right. It's the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
Yeah, Jason, and keeping on that political angle that you started us off with, man, on this Talk About It Tuesday.
I love angles.
I'm sure you
all
do,
the
man.
angles.
And, life, like football, is a game of inches and angles, man. How many inches you got? You know, you ain't gotta.
I'm black from the waist down, bro.
Oh, it's all about the angle if you don't have the inches, right?
Yep.
All right, so another day. Another high-powered Republican prohibitionist making moves to stifle our freedom. This time it is Republican Representative Jody Arrington out of Texas, chair of the House Budget Committee, who's introduced a bill to prevent marijuana businesses from claiming federal tax deductions under IRS Code 280E, even if cannabis is federally rescheduled. Despite all that, don't worry about it, y'all. That ain't news. It's total nothing burger bullshit we heard from Jason Beck, Jesse Barney, and Jenny Beth Dills. It's looking like a triple quarter pounder with cheese right about now because these motherfuckers are bringing the beef. Arrington's bill aligns with, if you feel like you got deja vu right now, his bill aligns with similar Senate bill from James Lankford, Republican from Oklahoma, and Pete Ricketts, Republican from Nebraska, and the measure could gain traction if included in broader budget legislation. The bill would amend tax laws to ensure marijuana businesses remain excluded from deductions similar to those dealing with Schedule 1 and 2 drugs. The prohibitionist group Smart Approaches to Marijuana supports the move. Surprise, surprise. Meanwhile, other GOP lawmakers are advancing cannabis-related bills, including measures to expand medical care marijuana access for veterans and protect banks working with state legal cannabis businesses, but they're all on lower committees, where the ones in power are saying no. So I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. Just giving you all the facts, man. I got plenty of data to back this up. Let's hear a little bit of that emotion from Jason Beck, because I know he's got it.
Well,
Jason seems to like taxes.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's the Democrats that like taxes. Republicans are about low taxes or no taxes. We're about to get ready to abolish the whole IRS, and we're going to totally eliminate the income tax for people.
We,
exactly. Me, and all my friends on my morning cup.
Yeah. Emotion, man. Emotion and loud talking does not negate facts.
Tastes like tax freedom right there when we abolish the IRS and eliminate the income tax and just impose tariffs on everybody. I'm all for it.
They're not trying to eliminate deductions across the board. They're eliminating it, any kind of deductions. They're trying to block all deductions for cannabis specifically.
It's a big nothing sandwich, bro. This is a big propaganda piece. Okay, this is a bunch of BS.
Just the Senate, and you said it's never going to come to a full bill.
It's not. It's never going to. It's never going to go nowhere.
You said that the House isn't going to do anything about this.
They're not.
This is the House this time. Both of them have identical bills, and both of them are in charge.
Still not going nowhere.
Are in charge of both houses, Jason.
Still not going nowhere.
This is most likely going to happen. This is more than a nothing burger.
You're such a gaslighter. You've been on one this week already so far.
All right, say what the fuck you want. Like everybody at home, go ahead and
I'm not
Google
worried about none of this.
Is real.
None of this.
This is real. And if you own a cannabis business or a plant touching business, even more specifically, make sure you're aware of what the fuck is really happening, not what people like Jason Beck are telling you not to worry about.
I'm not worried about it. You guys can worry about it all you want.
Rico.
You guys can worry about it all you want. I'm not going to worry about it.
What, you worry? What are you, Alfred E. Newman over there?
I mean, I think the gap in his logic is bigger than the gap in his teeth. I think that what we need to ask.
I'm not Stacey Abrams.
Oh, the question we have is why are you not worried about it?
Because I don't believe that this bill is going anywhere. I believe this is just placating to a small demographic base, and this is going to get introduced. There's tons of bills that get introduced into Congress and the Senate every election cycle. They go absolutely nowhere. That are all basically dead on arrival.
So what you're saying is you believe that the party you affiliate with is grandstanding for a minority of their constituents with performative acts instead of getting things done.
Yep, Kabuki Theater 101, Yarrow. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly right. I think that's a fair
Jason,
analysis.
So hypothetically, this does pass. How are you going to spin it?
It's not going to pass. I'm gonna say the same thing of what the Japanese Prime Minister said. He's like, I'm not going to comment on hypothetical things because they're not real.
All right, not real.
All right, y'all want to believe this ain't real? Just go ahead and just listen to the bullshit that Jason Beck is kicking, and just live in this make believe world. Real people have real problems, and this is going to be a real problem.
Yeah, not buying it. Not buying it, but I always love a good gaslighting, Rico, and you always bring the flamethrower.
Well,
looking like a true gaslighter.
People can tune in to see how this unfolds.
Yeah,
and one of you two is going to be saying, "I told you so."
Exactly. One of us is going to be right. It's going to be me.
One of us. Either way, even if this does not get passed, I am the one of us that always says like, "Oh, I was wrong." The other one, if they're wrong, he'll be like, "Oh,
I admit when I'm wrong.
This is what I said."
I admit when I'm wrong.
I don't remember saying
that. It just very rarely ever happens.
I told you it was going to pass.
It just very rarely ever happens, Rico. Just what it is.
Pull the tape. You can see what I said.
Exactly. Pull the tape.
Happen. I mean, it was going to happen. I mean,
I love it. I love it. I'm glad you guys are all triggered this morning. So great.
No, I'm not triggered, man. This is something that people, especially our viewers, should be aware of and should be.
I agree that they should be aware of, bro. I'm glad that you're covering it, Rico. I'm just saying, I'm
saying you shouldn't be downplaying this.
I'm not downplaying it.
It's actually a major issue. It's not just like some little bullshit. If we're dealing with this on a micro level here in California, we're worried all about the taxes. This is on a federal level. These motherfuckers are all lined up against our industry right now.
They always have been, bro. At least they're gonna show you. They're not like the Democrats and gonna act like they're for you and then just be working behind your back. At least they're telling you where they stand.
Kind of like you're doing right now, huh? Jason?
No, bro. I'm being honest. I'm not worried about it. I'm not putting no effort into it because I don't believe that it's going anywhere. If it starts getting some traction, then you know what I'm saying. Then we'll start putting some motion into it. But right now, this bill is DOA, bro.
Yeah. Y'all. Pretty soon you won't need to bend the knee anymore because you can be chopped at the motherfucking.
I don't bend the knee for nobody, bro. That's cute.
Not for your king.
There is no king in America. We have a president. We have the boss. The boss is in charge. He's duly elected and has higher approval ratings than any other president in history right now.
Yeah, go ahead and believe whatever the king says. Just believe it, man. Just believe it.
Just is what it is.
Emperor has no clothes, and the walls have been closing in.
Oh man, you guys are funny.
Jason Beck, he wants us to be the new Axis power.
Oh, God.
Axis of evil is new America.
On the side of Russia.
Yes.
Stop it. You guys are ridiculous. Oh, look at that. Look at Travis's van.
With
look at
Russia
that.
and fucking North Korea.
I love that, man. I love the little van action there, man.
Yes. He's got all the pot prisoners listed up on there on the van. You know what I'm saying? Good looking out, Travis.
I love that.
We got activism going on.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm at the White House right now. I'm trying to get a meeting with Trump, but he's busy. So we'll see.
We have 3 days left in Black History Month. Maybe you can get a meeting with the pardon czar.
That great man gave us the greatest gift ever. He put Alice Marie Johnson as the pardon czar. Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yep, exactly.
I'm so happy about that. Everyone's calling from prison.
Yep.
And we are really happy to have one of us, a real convict inside the administration. Hey,
Rico was a big naysayer about this story yesterday.
Hopefully she doesn't get chopped off by Doge by the end of the month.
Stop the ridiculousness, bro.
Wait, when you said a real convict in there, were you talking about Trump?
No, I'm talking about Alice Marie Johnson.
Yeah, Yarrow, if you would have showed up yesterday, you'd know what we're talking about.
I think if you wrote free candy on the side of the van, you would attract more people.
I got free THC. Hold on, I'll show you.
Oh boy. You know what? We're not going into this one today, you guys. You guys are having way too much.
There.
Way too much.
That's Michael Woods.
Yeah.
Michael Woods got life out of Syracuse in like 2006 for jumping the Canadian border on a fake conspiracy that they made up?
Well, most conspiracies are made up. That's why they're in conspiracy.
No, that's conspiracy theories, Jason. Conspiracies.
No,
are real.
conspiracy theories are actually proven to be 99.999% true.
Jason, a conspiracy is real.
Conspiracy
theory is a theory.
Just saying, bro. Just saying. I think you're living in the wrong world right now, Rico. But it's okay. I mean, like I said, I couldn't believe that you were a naysayer of the appointment of Alice Johnson as the pardon czar. I was shocked to hear that. But you know what I mean. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
I was shocked you went through with the DEI initiative.
Just gonna say, yeah,
that
is not a DEI initiative.
A DEI hire.
She has more experience on the subject than anybody else in the administration. She did like 20 years in prison.
Exactly.
When you come to prison, you get all the stories. Like you go, what did you do? What did you do? Then we beat up the pedophiles and get the rats out of there, but we figure them out. So she knows a lot about the law, I can assure you.
Yep.
No, I agree. I 100% agree with that. But she's still a DEI hire, given their criteria
racist.
And the announcement made about Black History Month.
Stop this ridiculousness, bro.
Wait, Johnson in charge of this. 100% DEI conversations, DEI hire. And so I don't know, man. She's in the crosshairs of Doge right now, given the rest of their action.
She's gonna be just fine. She's gonna be just fine. And congratulations.
Is she the only black person that is working for the administration?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
That's cute. Tim Scott, man, all that tap dancing he was doing. Like, where's he? Where's Tim Scott at?
We're under the desk.
We're rolling into our next commercial. You guys are just getting rude and obnoxious now. We're rolling into our first commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, you know? But I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade. And in a GMP certified facility, so you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where do I even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Tested. It's not a name, it's a promise.
And we are back, Rico.
Yeah, y'all. Up next, y'all know who it is. It's the partying partisan himself, the High at 9 News head honcho, certified DEI specialist, certified able man who doesn't mind if you call him a weeble wobble. You know why? Because rules don't matter no more, right?
I mean, I do weeble wobble.
You know,
one leg's longer than the other. That's just what it is.
People do wobble, but they don't fall down.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
we
right.
fall down, but we get up.
Cute, you guys. Yeah. Like I said, see the name in the background. Make sure that you vote for Tony Strickland. Why is it doing that?
Or not?
Vote for
if you don't
Tony
like
Strickland.
Abortions, vote for Tony Strickland.
Yeah. Make California golden again. But let me tell you guys, I got a triggering tale for you guys, okay? Just get ready, all right? Because a teen takes a bunch of edibles, calls 911, and then shoots his mom and his sister multiple times, the HPD says, you guys. That's right. The teen had called 911 saying he was either going to kill someone or kill himself, according to HPD. That's Houston, out there in the great red state of Texas. A 15-year-old is in custody after he shot his mother and sister multiple times after ingesting large amounts of marijuana Saturday night, according to the Houston Police Department. This happened on Greens Road near Hardley Toll Road around 11 p.m. And Houston PD says the teen called 911 saying he was going to either kill someone or kill himself. The dispatcher called the home back, and the teen's mother answered, saying there was nothing going on and that she didn't know about anything going on. The officers found out that the 15-year-old suspect had just eaten a bunch of edibles and I guess had a bad reaction to them, at which point he ended up using that gun and shooting his mother multiple times in the back and shooting one of his sisters multiple times, said Houston Police Department Lieutenant J.P. Horlicia. The Houston
now she knows there's something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. The Houston Fire Department was the first to arrive at the scene, and when the firefighters got there, the teen was spotted in the parking lot with the gun. Houston PD said the teen pointed the gun at the firefighters and said he had just killed someone before he threw the gun toward them and ran off. HPD arrived shortly after and managed to chase down the teen and take him into custody. Inside the home, officers found the teen's mother and 17-year-old sister with multiple gunshot wounds, and they were taken to area hospitals in very critical condition, Horlicia said. The teen's 16-year-old sister was also in the home at the time of the shooting, but she was unharmed. KHOU 11's Michelle Choi spoke with neighbors about the incident, who said they were in disbelief. In a quote, they say, "Since it's that close, it kind of sends a wave to your body," said neighbor Margaret Smith, a mother of two. Smith said she's thankful police were able to stop the teen before the situation got worse, and in an additional quote says, "It could have happened to anybody. He could have walked outside and did anything to somebody. I'm glad it wasn't me. I feel for the family, the mom, and the sister, but it's some lessons you have to learn. Now he's got to learn the hard way, and that's sad," she said. Well. I think this is a super, super tragic story. I wonder, why they're trying to make marijuana the scapegoat when it sounds like this kid is just mentally deranged in the first place. 100%. But I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
He should be in one of RFK's camps, as a mentally deranged person, and then this wouldn't have happened.
He definitely should be in a mentally deranged camp, that's for sure.
Can you imagine waking up after being all blasted and figuring out what you did in jail? Like, oh my God, when he sobers up.
You're assuming that he's fucked up though, Travis. I think he's just mentally deranged. Yeah, I think he's mentally deranged.
He did some like people get violent on other stuff. I don't think it was weed.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, this
could have been mushroom gummies.
He could have been smoking spice.
And you got to remember, cannabis legalization in Texas is a hot subject right now.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a little convenient for them to throw this in there like that. I don't believe it at all.
I think so too. I think so too. I think they found some gummies over there and they're like, oh, you know what? He must have been on these.
Well, yep. I mean, it doesn't really matter. None of that matters. What matters is the difference between causation versus correlation, right? So those two things can be together. It doesn't mean that they're the cause. And so it's just, to your point, unfortunate that that's what the headline chooses to be to get people to click and read, which, worked for us. We're covering it. But we're covering it because cannabis tends to get a bad rap.
Yeah.
In a way that we feel colors policymakers' decisions instead of scientific data. And this is probably yet another example of why Texas will continue to be behind the curve when it comes to both medical and or adult use cannabis in their state. Maybe this teen was on edibles. Maybe the edibles were a factor in that decision. And maybe we need to take a step back and say, until there's a scientific analysis of the scenario, until this teen has been evaluated by a psychologist or a psychiatrist, it's really just premature. And so they're throwing cannabis under the bus, and we're used to that, unfortunately.
Yep. Smoking preemies.
Make alcohol illegal.
Again.
I don't believe the prohibition works, so I'm not necessarily for that.
Well, or let's make guns unavailable to teenagers, because if that thing was in a biometric lock and his parents hadn't made it accessible to him,
well, hold on. You're assuming that this kid got it from his parents. Why? You can't make that assumption.
You know what? 9 out of 10 times.
He could have bought it at school from one of his friends, one of his homies.
Could have, but it wasn't covered in the news. And my guess would be that it is consistent with the 9 out of 10 news stories where the access to firearms to minors is attributable to the way in which the adults in the house are not locking the guns up.
You must have taken Rico's gaslighting pills this morning too.
No,
No,
it's
that
called
ain't
a
gonna
cup of
happen in
coffee
Texas.
and some logic and reason.
Logic, right? Exactly.
You know, yeah. I mean, if that's gaslighting, then give me a double dose.
See what I'm saying? Oh man, you know, stay tuned on the High at 9 News website. We will have gaslighting pills available for sale pretty soon.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen in Texas. Any kind of gun reform. Trying to get
Coming right out of your medicine cabinet.
But you know, we don't need gun reform in order for responsible gun owners to understand that locking up their guns is the same as locking up their edibles, right?
I'm all for that. I'm all for that when you present it like that.
The teen got the edibles from their parents, and I'm not saying that. I am saying it's most probable that the teen accessed a firearm because there were firearms in the house. And all I'm saying is that good gun ownership means good locks, and good locks mean that minors are not able to access firearms. And time again, we see that there are avoidable accidents that happen because people aren't being responsible.
Okay,
I agree with you 100%, Yarrow. The only thing I'm saying here is in Texas, like,
to get good locks.
Good, like the reason why weed and weed edibles is highlighted in this story is because they need a scapegoat to escape the logic that you're speaking
they don't put
about.
Jews in jail because they eat locks.
Right now, they're not going to speak from a place of logic. There's going to be thoughts and prayers, and they're going to demonize weed because weed is at fault in this case in their eyes. Guns are never going to be the issue. It's going to be something else every single time, unfortunately.
Jenny Beth, you have anything you want to throw on this?
Nope, not a ton. I agree with Yarrow.
Travis, you have anything you want to throw in on this, or Todd?
Yeah, they're lying.
Yeah, they're lying.
Sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's a typical case of blaming cannabis for something that cannabis had nothing to do with. So typical of Texas state, how they run their any kind of thing related to cannabis.
That's fair. That's fair. That is very, very fair, you guys. Very, very fair. Well, we're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right in to Mr. Travis Cullen. Travis was just 21 when he was sentenced to 11 years in prison for a nonviolent cannabis offense, his first felony. That experience changed his life and sparked a passion for advocating for others still behind bars for weed. Now, as a cannabis entrepreneur, Travis uses his platform to push for justice and reform, determined to make a difference in an industry that once cost him his freedom. And so, here coming to bring some fire is none other than Mr. Travis Cullen.
And that crowd goes wild.
You're on mute, Travis. You're on mute. You got to unmute yourself. Travis, you got to unmute yourself.
Boom. I'm here again.
There we go.
I got an article that's very great. Okay, this is in response to a press release made by the fake leaders in cannabis advocacy, Last Prisoner Project. So on February 18, 2025, the Last Prisoner Project posted a Facebook press release criticizing Republicans for celebrating the release of Mark Fogel from a Russian imprisonment, while not addressing cannabis incarceration in the U.S. They specifically attacked Speaker Mike Johnson for celebrating Fogel's return while opposing cannabis reform. However, their selective outrage exposes a deeper issue. LPP is not on achieving justice, but advancing their own public image. Jason Ortiz and the Last Prisoner Project have consistently failed the cannabis community by prioritizing media-friendly political gestures over real advocacy. While they claim to fight for those still incarcerated, politicians superficial view.
Travis, we're losing you, Travis. Like
we've lost.
Yeah,
you.
we've lost you.
You lost me?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you driving or are you stationary?
No, I'm just sitting here. You got it now? Am I good?
Yep. You're good now. We got you now.
Okay. All right. Let me start from the beginning. All right. So here's the deal. Kevin Allen is in Louisiana prison, and they criticize. So Mark Fogel got released from Russian prison Speaker Mike Johnson is in Kevin Allen's district. Kevin Allen's his constituent. So Last Prisoner Project got up and criticized Speaker Mike Johnson very publicly, and it was embarrassing for the cannabis movement because we're trying to get people out of prison. So I'm getting back to the article. So Jason Ortiz and Last Prisoner Project have consistently failed the cannabis community by prioritizing media-friendly political gestures over real advocacy. While they claim to fight for those still incarcerated, their actions tell a different story. Instead of pushing for meaningful changes, they align with high-profile politicians and celebrate superficial victories that leave people like Harold Morris, who is serving a 40-year sentence for cannabis, behind bars. Ortiz, a former campaign manager for Chris Soto, a Democrat from 2012 to 2020, made a career out of political maneuvering. Most recently, on June 17th, he stood behind Governor of Maryland, Wes Moore, to celebrate the signing of 170,000 misdemeanor cannabis pardons. He called it the biggest day in cannabis justice history, despite the fact that this event did not result in a single release of a person currently in prison on cannabis-related charges. This was nothing more than a publicity stunt designed to boost LPP's visibility rather than create the real change. If LPP truly cared about freeing cannabis prisoners, they would focus on tangible policy reforms and legal advocacy instead of media appearances and symbolic endorsements. Their willingness to engage in selective criticism and empty gestures reveals an organization more interested in maintaining their influence and securing justice for those incarcerated. To Jason Ortiz and the Last Prisoner Project, if your mission is truly about justice, stop prioritizing your public relations strategy over meaningful action. Until then, the cannabis community will see through your empty rhetoric and performative activism. That's it.
Wow. Lots of performative activism going on, huh?
Yeah, they stood behind the governor of Maryland like he's the cult leader, and they're the representatives of the cannabis community, patted him on the back. And my friend Harold Morris is in Maryland State Prison serving 40 years, and we're upset that they sponsored that event and didn't use their political platform to try to free incarcerated inmates for cannabis charges as they claim they do.
I think that's
they're kind of like the Democrats' bitches.
Oh man. Rico got triggered when I called LPP the USAID version of cannabis criminal justice reform, and so I wonder if will like if I say that LPP is kind of maybe more like the MedMen of cannabis criminal justice reform, because they like to fleece everybody
and mislead.
I think what Rico would have.
That wasn't so much triggered as yeah. Go ahead.
It's a false equivalency to try to make it partisan in an attempt to actually highlight the point. I think your point is that we really need to start holding advocacy organizations to a higher standard in terms of money's in versus outcomes out, and start not having just a big kumbaya prayer circle, but really look at what are organizations doing? Are they doing what they say they're going to do? Are we holding them accountable? Are we vetting them? Or is it performative? And I think you actually do the issue a disservice by trying to create a partisan analogy. It wasn't 100%. A good analogy. And more importantly, I think this is actually a bipartisan issue. So you're creating a wedge where we don't need one. This is probably the third Last Prisoner Project piece that I'm aware of that we've covered in as many weeks. And it seems like the veneer, the polish is starting to come off, and there's genuine reservations from real stakeholders, prisoners, released prisoners, advocates who've been doing this work for longer than that organization has existed. And we're hearing a steady drumbeat of criticism around what that organization is doing, how it's positioning itself, and the places where it's not being more active, vocal, and using its prominence. I don't have enough information to have an opinion, but they say if 20 people tell you you're a horse, then it's time to buy a saddle. And so we have credible people on this show, such as yourself, and the criticism seems to be consistent, and that's very troubling.
Yeah.
The question is, what do they do with all the money that they raise at Last Prisoner Project?
That's a great question,
They have an
Todd.
inflated
Follow
payroll.
the money.
I did an article, Where's the Money? Last Prisoner Project on freethc.com. They have an inflated payroll that jumped from 254,000 in 2021 to 1.3 million in 2023. So I think that answers a lot of questions right there. We've had no releases, and then we're mad at them because they've been jockeying to the Democrats for 4 years and they got us no results. Nothing. I'll admit it. I was trying to jockey to Biden. I want Edwin Rubis home, but Biden failed and he sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go to Trump and say, this guy sucks. He let us down. And on top of that, he lied to us. Can you please free our cannabis brothers and sisters incarcerated in federal prison? Because Trump's the only one in this whole planet that has the keys.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to disrespect, you know how Trump is. They're going to come out the first time Trump does something in cannabis reform is the leaders of the cannabis community. So they say, and criticize Trump, who's got the keys for my guys, and then not criticize Maryland's governor. Oh man, these people are terrible.
It's hypocrisy at its finest.
Find these people. Like, how did they get in charge? Like, this is a joke.
It's hypocrisy at its
We need Craig
finest.
to step up and be in charge of everything. That's what we want.
What do you guys say, Rico?
He's a former inmate that was had a life sentence for cannabis, and Trump let him out, and and Trump likes him, and Trump is following Craig Cecil's progress. So the whole cannabis community needs to get behind Craig Cecil and stop and get behind people that serve time, because it's serious business. We know, like in my world, if I steal someone's commissary money, I get stabbed up. So how they're getting away with it, I guess we're free now, but whatever. Same thing.
Any thoughts, Rico?
No, I think you hit on some. I think you hit on some great points there, Travis. The only thing I can say about frozen. This is that. Am I frozen?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. We got your back now.
You guys hear me at least?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
You guys hear me?
Smart sentence too. We need
go
it.
for it.
Okay. Yeah. You can hear me though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. What I was saying, that it just all comes down to money, man.
I got it.
LPP has the money, and unfortunately, LPP and NORML, two very, very conflicted organizations within our industry. They got the marketing and they got the juice. So when it comes to people in high places with power and political places in our nation, they're looking to them as the voice of our industry.
Mm-hmm.
And they sell us, and Jason Ortiz is a Democrat operative. So they tell him, you say yes, you sit down when we say sit down, and you stand up. And that's what he did. And they lost, and they don't even want to admit they lost. It's a joke.
Yeah, the one thing that I would say the one positive is with this last election, Trump and his team have been a lot more open to alternative sources of information rather than the mainstream, and that's what we're going to continue doing. What we do to raise our voices, to raise alternative issues, and trying to be as unified as possible. And not just bend the knee to one party or the other. And I'm not calling any names here, but just raise the issues that really matter to the industry and to the people that we know, that we care about, and tell the real stories and not the bullshit veneer that have been given to the people in power by Project Sam, by LP, by NORML for years on out. Right? We have to continue to push our counter narratives and use platforms like social media. Right, because we are on a much better, I wouldn't say equal playing field, but we are on a much more level playing field than we have been in the past. And we need to continue doing what we do, make sure we raise our voices and raise up issues like you're bringing up, Travis, because they need to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for having the courage to talk about this stuff, because everybody's terrified of LPP and getting blacklisted by them. I'm like, they need the inmates. They have nothing without me and my brothers and sisters. And I'm trying to form an alliance where if you use our pictures, Mary Bailey, and you collect $3.5 million, we want more than $300. We want some money. We're the story. We're the power. So I have all that power. I have harvested a lot of relationships. I speak their language. And I'm just encouraging all the other incarcerated individuals, if you show up for them, $5,000. And I got the receipts on their tax returns on how much they're making. If you go somewhere and they don't pay you $5,000, you're soft as shit. I ain't trying to hear none of that shit.
Why doesn't Mike Johnson make a stand? Why doesn't he protect these cannabis prisoners?
Well, the case of Kevin Allen.
Ask his DEI son.
And maybe we can talk about Kevin Allen too. He's a guy in Louisiana. He got caught selling $20 worth of cannabis, and he's doing like a life sentence or something. It's been through all the courts. And I encourage that, we got to talk about that, but they should have put a press release out criticizing the governor of Maryland, criticizing Biden, and then we can actually take this organization seriously instead of a Democrat cult following political gambit.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's really important that you touched upon is that criticizing is probably one of the most patriotic acts we can do.
Period.
Jason gives me no end to the opportunities here on this show. And it really is a very patriotic act. If you can't dissent, if you can't disagree, if you can't criticize, if you can't nitpick, and if you can't ask for better, then we don't have the freedoms that theoretically are making this country worth enjoying, worth celebrating, frankly, worth criticizing, right? And so when we criticize organizations, it doesn't mean that they're inherently evil. It means that there's a better approach. There's an asking, a leveling up, a let's do better. And so I think with this organization, this is troubling. We've seen a steady drumbeat of these articles, and it's troubling. And one of the things that's troubling is that there's a lot of organizations that have been around for a lot longer, and they've become the darling. They take the oxygen out of the room. And so we've seen that with various advocacy organizations. I'm not going to say it's just this one, but it's a dynamic where there's existing boots on the ground, soldiers, people doing the work. All of a sudden, something bright and glittery and shiny comes in, gets all the oxygen. Everybody's like, oh, that's where my proceeds are going. And I've seen a lot of fundraisers where they're like, the money is going to this organization. And I'm like, gosh, if you're doing an event and you're giving money, why would you just give it to one organization? Why would you not spread out your little pie chart a little bit and give it to a variety of meritorious organizations that could benefit from those funds?
If you have an organization and you collect funds in the name of my brothers and sisters, and there's a lot of them out there, you need to give 70 to 90% of that money, and you need to be clear about it. I don't know why people think it's okay to steal from people that are incarcerated. I think there needs to be a lot more accountability. Like if you take on that role, I have 5 incarcerated individuals I'm very tight with. And like, if they need anything, I got them. And that's just because I'm hustling. Like, that's just my responsibility as a cannabis business owner. So it's like, for these people to not have a business and then solicit funds from the beautiful cannabis community that loves us, and then talk down to the incarcerated individuals and not want any accountability and not want to question what they're doing at all, and they built their whole business around me and my brothers and sisters, it's like, I can't stand for that. Not in this life.
And for those that don't know, being incarcerated is incredibly expensive. Phone calls are incredibly expensive. Getting the calorie count you would need to actually sustain yourself can't be done based on the plate that you're receiving in the chow line. Being incarcerated carries with it a
just
lot
even
of
clean
extra
yourself, your hygiene.
Just to be able to have a life slightly bearable. All of your toiletries, everything is 3x. It's really expensive. And if you want to be able to talk to people who care about you, you're paying dollars per minute on that phone line just to have a lifeline, and it's not cheap.
Yep.
And then the post release, Valerie Flores is in Wisconsin. It's, we had to get her a car. They have nothing. They erase everything value you've built in this world, and you come home to nothing. So LPP, they used to do a $5,000 grant, and then that held a little bit of loyalty for my brothers and sisters with them. But now they dropped it to $1,000. It's like, no, that's not going to work. You get $3.5 million. I want $100,000 to my guys when they got out. I know if my guys have $100,000, they can start a business. And then the probability of people going back to prison, if they have the money, is way less. I had some money when I came home after serving 8 years, and it made it a lot easier. And I got a guy, Melvin Gardner. He gets out April 1st. And, we need $5,000 for him when he walks out the door. We got to raise this money. And then after that, they got to get a car. You're nothing without a car. And it's just like the way Mary Bailey posts on Facebook about going on skiing trips in Japan and partying with Madonna and going to the Burning Man every year. It's like, no, stop what you're doing right freaking now and send that to my people, because your only job is raising money in my people's names. I've seen your books. I did my investigation. It's like, no, I want more accountability. I want all my people that they represent to have as much wealth as Mary has.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to be fair, right? She's an attorney. We don't know what kind of paper she had before she came into this.
She's not an attorney. Sarah Gerson's attorney. Mary Bailey's a professional grifter.
Okay, I might have misspoke. Fair enough.
All right. Well, Moy Freestyle sent us a big old super chat, and he says, supporting other conservative uplifters. So cool to finally see intellectually stimulating stoners who care. So I guess big round of applause, you guys. Look at that, and welcome to Yarrow to being a new conservative now. He switched his party.
Yeah, let's keep it moving, Jason. We are over.
Oh yeah, we're gonna roll into our next commercial, and we are gonna be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that, they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
I wonder some cannabis real estate. It does some money right now.
I'm not introducing you. Easy there, Yarrow. Just hang tight. We're not even there yet. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know you'll appreciate it. We'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com. And if you are in Southern California, make sure you get out and vote today for Tony Strickland for California Senate.
Are you a business that's suffering from the hyperinflation that is plaguing America today? We have the solution for you. That's right, Patriot Business Financing. Head on over to www.patriotbfc.com and apply for a loan up to $2 million. Any state, any industry, even the cannabis industry, the CBD industry, as well as the industrial hemp fiber industry. Secure up to $2 million today, and make sure that when you apply, you tell Paul you said hi from High at 9.
With the angriest elf on the shelf.
Oh, and we are back, you guys. The angry elf on the shelf. Go for it, Rico.
This second generation cultivator and founder of Special Teams Consulting is a fellow dope dad known to many up north as the Sebastopol Sage. And by the looks of conversation in today's chat, I guess we can call him Yarrow, the cunning conservative Kubrin.
Oh man, thank you for the fresh intro. And keeping it unscripted.
Super fresh,
and,
man. It's still moist. You know what I'm saying?
Oh boy,
I can tell that.
Crispy, not limp.
Like
Thank
spinach
you so
leaves.
much. Without further ado, Tuesday, February 25th, High at 9 News viewers. Thank you for tuning in. It is Yarrow Kubrin, and my article today is from across the way in New York. And without further ado, let's talk about the dumpster fire on the other side of the country. Governor Hochul. Does that pronounce it right? Hochul?
Hochul.
Hochul.
I don't know. I say Hochul.
Like most things, don't listen to Jason.
I would say it's Governor Ho-Hum, because this is pretty darn lame. Governor Hochul proposes allowing a law enforcement to use the odor of cannabis in certain traffic situations. The governor's proposed budget includes altered language about the odor of cannabis, burnt cannabis, or other drugs. Governor Kathy Hochul has proposed altering a small piece of the state's recreational cannabis legislation that has advocates and law enforcement divided. The change includes adding back the odor of cannabis, burnt cannabis, or other drug to establish reasonable cause to compel a driver who was pulled over on suspicion of driving while impaired or involved in a crash to submit to a court-ordered blood test. when New York's MRTA, or Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, was signed into law in March of 2021, law enforcement officers were prohibited from using the smell of marijuana during a traffic stop. What the governor is proposing now is going back, basically going back to the original rule, and it'd be huge, said former Erie County District Attorney turned partner at some law firm, John Flynn. Flynn recalls how police departments statewide worried that they would not be able to adequately combat the issue of driving while high without using their nose. The test for detecting marijuana roadsides does not exist. He noted that since cannabis was legalized for recreational use, like other states that came before New York, it saw an increase in impaired driving specifically related to cannabis. The proposed language does not fully revert law enforcement to pre-MRTA guidelines, but advocates for legalization worry it could be liberally applied. Flynn explained that previously the smell of marijuana could be used to establish cause for searching a vehicle, leading officers to perhaps other illicit drugs and guns. Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes, who helped construct the MRTA, worries the change could have unintended consequences. I'm aware of the proposal, and I'm concerned that it recriminalizes the plant while also moving backwards on the intentions of MRTA, Peoples-Stokes said in a statement to Two on Your Side. She added, there are ways to address legitimate traffic safety concerns, but using the odor of cannabis as a reasonable cause to compel a chemical test should not be considered and will have detrimental unintended consequences. Flynn adds that any reasonable defense attorney could question why police use the smell of marijuana to compel a driver during a traffic stop or crash. As Flynn points out, having personal quantities of marijuana in your car is not illegal, and neither is smoking it recreationally. The fact that the car smells of marijuana doesn't necessarily mean that the smell is coming from the person's mouth. The other problem is that when you smoke marijuana, the smoke of the marijuana tends to get on your clothes, Flynn said. In a statement, New York State Office of Cannabis Management is also opposed to the governor's proposal. The Office of Cannabis Management remains committed to upholding the principles of the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, which was designed to end the criminalization of cannabis and create an equitable, well-regulated industry. New York has taken significant steps to move away from outdated enforcement practices that disproportionately harmed communities of color, and we are working to make sure that we combat drugged driving without undermining this process. We look forward to working with stakeholders throughout the budget process to ensure that cannabis policy in New York continues to reflect the law's commitment to fairness, public safety, and justice, they said. Okay. A lot to say, a lot to chew over. I want to hear what my other guests and pundits think about this.
Well,
I think it's a result of Trump winning the election.
You think so, really?
Yeah,
a regression?
The Dems are trying to go back easy on with the Republicans now. They're scared.
Yeah,
So
they're trying to go hard. They're trying to go harder.
Yeah. Like, oh no, we're with the cops. That's the worst thing ever.
Travis, you got to keep your phone sideways.
CBD officer. I've done it many times. It's CBD officer. I swear to God, I do not have anything in here. It's CBD.
Travis, you got to keep your phone sideways, bro.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
It's CBD officer.
No, I just tell him it's THCA. THCA is the most legal form.
No, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
CBD is way different letters. They just don't know what to say when you say CBD. It's CBD officer.
Mm-hmm.
And Hochul's acting weak.
This is a gaslighter, officer.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that one, Rico. That's you know what I mean. That's pretty good. I mean, this.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you, Travis. This is the Democrats trying their best to put on their we're tough on crime bullshit when it's going to do is it's going to backfire on them and lose them elections down the line.
Sounds like
someone's going to get pulled over and shot. Some young kid's going to get shot, and then all of a sudden Hochul's going to be like, "Oh, that wasn't a good idea. Let's reverse course."
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to bring back stop and frisk.
Yeah.
They already, Jason. They already did.
I said that for you just to get you all worked up, Rico.
They already brought that shit back, and they're trying to use excuses now, like, well, we're gonna put this initiative in place, and we're going to do no. They already put stop and frisk back in place when last year, the beginning of last year. When they pushed forward all of these licenses, they wanted to make it seem everything's all good over here in New York. No, stop and frisk alive and well, and the old school broken windows policies of the Giuliani era is back, and they're just looking for excuses to put it in place. It's like, oh, this happened, so we have to do that. No, it's been back, and they can do it, and they've just been waiting to flip that switch.
And they are, you know what I'm saying? It's the Democrats that are doing this, Rico.
So the challenge I have is that stop and frisk and the way in which it was initially implemented was ruled unconstitutional. And so if the Democrats are going to show that they're tough on crime, what I'm looking for is tough on crime without impeding civil liberties, personal freedoms, and using something that's legal as probable cause for searches. I haven't heard that policy yet being proposed from either side of the aisle. What I hear is giving up people's Fourth Amendment right in their vehicle for something like, if you can smell alcohol in someone's breath, great, search the car. If you can smell cannabis on someone, like I don't want law enforcement to have no latitude, but the smell of cannabis as probable cause. I mean, we've covered that state after state after state on this show over the last couple of years, and it's a place where the laws really haven't caught up with adult use policy. And it looks to me like New York has taken 3 steps backwards. New York hasn't really done a great job of rolling out their adult use program to begin with.
Sure, they have.
Oh, they claim they have the most equitable program in the world.
In the universe.
In the universe, yeah. And that's a direct quote from the spokesperson.
Yeah, and separate from the self-congratulatory grandstanding and posturing, we've watched the rollout in New York, scratching our head, watching replicated mistakes, watching the bravado turn into dust or nothing. Yep. And so to hear them, and Kathy Hochul said that the rollout under her leadership was not great. And what I didn't hear her say was, if the rollout was not great under your leadership, that's representative of your leadership. And so under her leadership, to have this regressive policy being proposed that is not being supported by the Office of Cannabis, mind you, the people who she theoretically has command and control over, and who she probably had a hand in who's working there, and they're not supporting the policy. I just don't understand. It's a big head scratcher. And I think it's also worth pointing out that the program out there and the acronyms for their adult use program, taxation is in the headline. It is one of the 4 words they use to describe their program. And I think that's the thing that I'm going to continue to be evangelical about, is like, if taxation is how you lead with an adult use program, you're already missing the mark foundationally. Yep. If this is just a cash cow so you can pay for other programs, or you can buy stakeholders' approval for an adult use program by giving them a sliver of that pie chart, that's a failed policy right out of the gate, in my opinion.
I agree.
If you start with taxes, you're inviting you're inviting motherfuckers to find loophole.
Oh man, you know what? We're gonna roll into our final commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, you know? But I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility, so you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Tested. It's not a name, it's a promise.
Oh, and we are back, Rico.
Yes, we are, Jason. Back like we left something. And up next, we have a formerly incarcerated cannabis entrepreneur that currently uses his platform to push for justice and reform, determined to make a difference in an industry that once cost him his freedom. Did we already do Travis?
You already did. I said Todd.
Yeah.
That's Todd, bro.
You said Travis.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Everyone heard me. No, I said Todd. Todd, you've been here the whole show. You know that Todd's next, bro. Like we've already done Travis's story already.
The whole show, but you asking me to introduce folks like out of order and everything. It fucks up.
It's not out of order. Todd's the next person on the list. It's not out of order.
It's the man also known as Big Granddaddy Perp. And when he ain't breaking straight out the mean streets of Las Vegas, the founder of Digipath Labs. And when he ain't breaking us down seeds of truth, you might catch him taking selfies with your boo, whether it's your boo, your boo's mother, or your boo's grandmother in that hot tub of his with a big fat stogie in his mouth. Coming to the stage, none other than Todd Denkin.
Yes, and Todd, happy 36th anniversary to you and your lovely wife.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Happy anniversary, man. Hey, it's 3 times of me and my anniversary this past weekend, man.
Nice. Way to make it about you, Rico. Happy anniversary, Todd.
Happy anniversary, brother. Happy anniversary. I'm just using Todd as a role model over here, man. We don't have many left.
Yeah.
That's right.
Look at that.
Come on now.
36 years with my lovely bride.
Congrats.
It's been quite a lovely ride. Thanks, everyone. Happy Tuesday and happy February 25th. If you guys want to send me a anniversary gift, please do. So I have a story about taxes as a California bill aims to repeal excise tax increase. That's right, plummeting prices, less revenue, fewer licenses, debt, wildfires, and the ongoing threat of a tax hike. That's the tip of the iceberg for California's cannabis market in early 2025. Specifically, California is set to increase its cannabis excise tax at the retail level from 15% to 19% starting on July 1st, 2025, as a result of the compromise elected officials made 3 years ago with certain beneficiaries of cannabis tax revenue. However, one legislature is planning to stop that increase from happening. That's right, Assemblymember Matt Haney, a Democrat from San Francisco, who chairs the Housing and Community Development Committee, introduced Assembly Bill 564 on February 12th. Legislation would repeal a requirement for the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration to adjust the cannabis excise tax rate by a percentage that was written into law in 2022. Forthcoming tax hike comes after roughly 27% of U.S. cannabis businesses reported being profitable in 2024, according to Whitney Economic Survey. Meanwhile, approximately 65% of all small businesses in the country were profitable last year. In California, where the average price per ounce for cannabis flower has dipped 38% since 2020, statewide sales have shrunk 13% since 2021, according to the Cannabis Department of Cannabis Control. Many licensed operators are hanging on by a thread from market conditions alone, much less from some elected officials treating the industry as merely a revenue stream. At the beginning of 2024, 15% of California's licensed dispensaries were in default of their excise taxes. According to California NORML, which sponsors AB 564, the state levies a 1-cent tax on a glass of wine, 2 cents on a can of beer, 8 cents on a single shot of liquor, and roughly 14 cents on a single cigarette. One cannabis pre-roll is taxed at $1.24 to the current 15% excise tax. In January, Haney told SF Gate that increasing taxes on cannabis businesses just impact their ability to turn a profit, likely drive operators out of the licensed market. He said, quote, "I definitely understand the regulatory authority needs more resources. That can't be at the expense of putting out of business are already hanging on by a thread." Scheduled tax hike stems from when Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill 195, which was attached as a trailer to the California 2021-2022 budget, although AB 195 eliminated the state's $161 per pound cannabis cultivation tax on July 1st, 2022. The legislation included a compromise with Tier 3 entities to make up for the lost funding. The cultivation tax, in particular, accounted for more than $166 million in state revenue in 2021, according to the CDTFA. Increasing the cannabis excise tax at retail an additional 4 percentage points generate roughly the same amount under current market conditions. Under AB 195, child care programs and youth groups, environmental, wildlife, and conservation programs, law enforcement and justice organizations, drug treatment and prevention centers, and other Tier 3 programs were to receive a minimum of $670 million in baseline funding from annual cannabis tax revenues to avoid a tax hike. Newsom's 2025-26 budget estimates that $468.2 million in cannabis tax revenue will be available to allocate to Tier 3 programs for the fiscal year. Education, prevention, and treatment of youth substance use disorders and school retention, it's about 60%, which is $281 million. Cleanup, remediation, and enforcement of environmental impacts created by illicit cannabis cultivation, 20% at $93.6 million. Public safety-related activities also get 20% at $93.6 million. That's more than $200 million less the baseline amount needed to avoid the tax hike. 56 of these entities signed a letter to Newsom and legislative leaders last year requesting to reinstate the cannabis cultivation tax or increase the excise tax, despite these programs having a surplus of more than $600 million as of March 2024, including roughly $260 million in each the law enforcement and child care accounts, according to a budget summary from the state assembly. Despite the Golden State's promise to establish a regulated ecosystem that would allow tax-paying cannabis operators to thrive, following the passage of Proposition 64 in 2016, the unlicensed market could become more attractive for businesses and consumers alike following the excise tax increase on July 1st, 2025. At Pease, CEO at San Diego-based retailer March and Ash, told Cannabis Business Times, quote, "Cannabis taxes are already absurdly high. Tax increase would just drive more price-sensitive consumers to illegal shops, further undercutting licensed businesses like ours and lowering overall tax collections for the state." March and Ash, which merged with cultivator and manufacturer Canacraft in 2022, operates 10 dispensaries in Southern California. Though the exact size of California's unregulated cannabis market is unknown, local media outlets commonly cite a $10 billion estimate, meaning roughly 2 out of 3 transactions occur outside licensed dispensaries each year. States' licensed dispensaries sold $4.6 billion in cannabis in 2024, according to the DCC. Angelica Sanchez, Senior Director of the Government Affairs and Compliance at Vertically Integrated Perfect Union, also said California's taxes on cannabis businesses are already too high. Said California's legal cannabis retailers are already struggling under excessive taxation, overregulation, and unfair competition from illicit operators and unregulated hemp. Tax hike only adds to the burden, making legal products less competitive and driving consumers to the illicit market. Threatens the long-term sustainability of the legal market and places us at a severe disadvantage. Perfect Union also operates 10 licensed dispensaries, mostly in Northern California. Tiffany Devitt, Director of Regulatory Affairs with March and Ash, compared California to Michigan, a less oppressive tax structure, in part, that allowed licensed retailers to reach a greater percentage of the state's cannabis consumers. Devitt said, "The fact that Michigan, with just a quarter of California's population, is selling more cannabis in its regulated market than we are, highlights the failure of our state to fulfill the promise of Proposition 64, tax and regulate cannabis in a manner that eliminates the illicit market. Tax increase on cannabis would only exacerbate the already significant price gap between the legal and illicit markets." While Michigan passed California in cannabis units sold in mid-2023, Michigan is still runner-up in overall sales, $3.3 billion reported from licensed retailers in 2024, according to the state's cannabis regulatory agency. Though Michigan's licensed market sells nearly 3 times the amount of cannabis per capita as California. per capita discrepancy, in part, is due to 57% of California cities and counties prohibiting cannabis retail businesses from operating in their jurisdictions, according to the DCC. California's active license count for dispensaries in 2024 was 1,225, meaning the average store sold roughly $4 million of cannabis for that year. That equates to roughly $600,000 in excise taxes owed per dispensary. For a business that operates 10 dispensaries, that's $6 million in excise taxes, not to mention the state's 7.25% to 10.75% sales tax, depending on the region, as well as various local tax structures. Should AB's 564 fail to stave off the pending tax hike, each dispensary would be on the hook for an additional $160,000 in excise taxes per year on average. I'm Todd Denkin with I9 News, and it's taxes, taxes, and more taxes in California. In your dispensary can probably make so much money that another $160,000 in taxes probably won't affect you. What do you think about these tax hikes, Jason? I know you have an opinion.
Yeah, I'm not for any of these tax hikes. I think all these taxes, especially in California, need to all be repealed. I think we need Doge to come into California and just and especially into the cannabis industry and just really just kind of wreck shop and get rid of all of this bullshit.
I'm surprised you didn't. I'm surprised you didn't call it just a big fat nothing burger, Jason.
No. This is actually something, because this is actually in effect. It's law that's been passed, Rico. It's not just propaganda law that people are just pandering, trying to rally support around.
Yeah, they filed a bill to avoid the tax, to change the law.
Yeah, you know what's crazy?
It never should have been in place in the first place. This Gavin Newsom is so fucking toned down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's infuriating. To see him heap praise on the industry for pretty much keeping California out of bankruptcy during COVID, and then just go back and we're gonna tax the shit out of you and put everybody out of business. Like what? What? I don't understand his ass, man.
Well, look, I mean, a lot of policymakers, separate from the good hair, gravelly voices, and cheating on their wives with their campaign managers.
Pop lock too.
Separate from that, a lot of policymakers have.
Is it cheating if it's consensual?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
A lot of policymakers have fallen into the same trap, which is thinking that cannabis is the tax, the cash cow that can be used to solve other problems with the tax revenue that comes out of it. And they've used those proposed divisions of tax revenue to create people who would otherwise have opposed adult use. And we hear that, the Josh Shapiro guy in Pennsylvania who's talking about the billions of dollars that they will have if they can, get adult use. And so Gavin's not a great governor. I'm not sure that this is the area where he's completely out of step with a lot of the other not great governors, thinking that the cash cow that is regulated cannabis is going to solve all these other problems. The challenge, I think, is that California, maybe we could have held to a higher standard, given that it was already such a prolific producing region and had such a history, and really goes back to 1996 with a medical program. And so I just think that anybody who thinks they're going to solve through taxation is forgetting that they're not standing up a new industry. They're wrapping their arms around an existing cottage industry, and that you can't wrap your arms around something if you have a billy club in one hand and you're hitting everybody over the head with it by taking their lunch money.
The thing about this too, Yarrow, is I just don't understand, because normal, everyone loves normal. Normal was actually advocating to remove the excise tax in replace of a potency tax. And it's like, how are you going to remove a tax and then be advocating for a new tax? And that's technically is a tax on patients, because it's just crazy to me that they would even think that is even a realistic solution.
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. A tax on potency?
Exactly.
Well, so to be fair, and I don't think Normal deserves to be in the same, bashing boat as some of these other organizations. and advocacy groups that we've talked about.
I like
today.
normal. I think we're good.
First of all, I would want to understand whether they were talking about that for medical or just for adult use, because if it was just for adult use, we can argue that it wasn't for.
It was for
patients.
both. It was for both, Yarrow.
And secondly, there are a lot of parallels between regulated cannabis and regulated alcohol. And in regulated alcohol, a potency tax is something that is used. And so I can't fault organizations for looking to other models that seem to be more sustainable suggesting that might work. When we talk about the difference in taxation, we talked last week on this show about how an acre of cannabis in California is taxed at $85,000, but 10 acres of vineyard is taxed at $1,000. And so if Normal was advocating for a tax model that looked more like regulated alcohol, and if that included substantial tax relief on cultivation and some of the other places where the industry is getting gouged, then the potency tax model, it's not crazy. They're just
it is crazy.
That there are other models in other industries that we might want to consider adopting.
It's crazy.
But when you're talking about a 1 cent tax on a glass of wine and a 2 cent tax on a can of beer and 8 cents on a shot of liquor.
Yep, and a dollar
times more, over 100 times more. At $1.24 for a pre-roll.
Exactly,
just insane.
It's insane,
absolutely insane.
And with the whole potency tax thing, this is why I'm a big advocate for eliminating all THC testing altogether. Eliminate that whole thing on the whole label. Eliminate it all 100% completely. Then you don't have people lab shopping and all this. Just get rid of it altogether.
That's an attack on patients, because if I need to know how much
no, it's not.
If I need to know how much I'm consuming, I need a metric to tell me
that's bullshit.
How many milligrams or how much THC
no, you don't.
I can expect in this.
No, you don't.
I do.
Yeah.
It's called dosing.
No, you don't. You don't need that. You don't need that for flower.
This causes more stories like the dude eating the edibles and shooting everybody.
You don't need that for flower, Jenny Beth. You know that's BS. You never had it before until all of a sudden you had legalization. You don't need it. It's totally useless.
Right, okay, cool. So I don't need it for flower, but THC testing does still need to exist, because as an extractor who's buying flower for potency for
I didn't say to eliminate it for R&D. I said to eliminate it as a labeling requirement on packaging.
On packaging of just flower, on packaging of everything.
Yeah, sure, packaging of flower. Well, I think like edibles and stuff, you should have that, because that's part of the thing. You know what I mean? That's yeah.
So only test edibles, you're saying? About alcohol. Alcohol has to report, what proof they are.
Who cares? We're not alcohol, Todd. I don't understand why everyone keeps conflating. That's how we keep getting these fucked up situations in the first place.
Oh, this industry is not run like the alcohol industry.
I mean, distribution is.
It's over-regulated, and there's got to be a stop to it.
It definitely is over-regulated. What are you going to say, Travis?
There is a solution.
We don't have pounds of wine coming out of California to Minnesota for $100, and they got pounds of
black market weed everywhere, and they're taxing it. Just
hold on, bro. Hold on. That's not true. You go to Trader Joe's, they got $2 chuck. Just saying.
True. That's good regulation.
Yeah, they got bootleg. They got bootleg Josh in Minnesota right now. Tell you what.
Yeah.
I seen the crates. Although there is a solution to all this shit. It's called the trap.
The trap is the only one winning. And speaking of the trap, I have some good news for you guys to end today's show on. Are you guys ready for this?
Ready.
You're gonna.
We
love
still got a
this.
story by Jenny Beth Dills.
This is the final story of the day, Rico.
Oh, no story. Okay.
Yes.
All right, come on with it, Jason.
All right. Because a Florida bill would expunge certain marijuana convictions and protect privacy. You guys, that's right. Democrat Senator Tracy Davis has introduced a pair of bills in the Florida Senate that would allow individuals with certain marijuana-related offenses to have their records expunged. With the second bill ensuring those expunged records remain confidential and exempt from public disclosure. Filed today, Senate Bill 1026 proposes automatic eligibility for expunction of specific low-level marijuana offenses committed before July 1st of 2025. The bill defines a qualifying marijuana offense as the possession of 2 ounces or less of marijuana under Florida Statute 893.13, as well as possession of paraphernalia classified as a marijuana delivery device under Florida Statute 381.9861.
Those eligible would be able to petition for expungement without paying a fee, and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement would be required to issue certificates of eligibility for qualifying individuals. Oh, that's a cool one. As part of the process, petitioners must submit a sworn statement affirming their eligibility with penalties for false information carrying a third-degree felony charge. The department would be responsible for establishing rules and an electronic system for handling petitions and issued certificates. Additionally, Senate Bill 1028, also filed by Davis, would exempt expunged records from public disclosure, ensuring that sealed records remain inaccessible. And the bill specifies that expungement records must be destroyed or physically obliterated by criminal justice agencies, with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement retaining a confidential record. It also establishes that such records would be exempt from public records laws, meaning they could only be accessed under limited circumstances such as by court order. And both bills are currently awaiting a committee assignment, you guys. Well, I think this is great news coming out of Florida. We'll see how far this advances, but you remember, Rico, it's just a bill currently. You know, you remember that song from Schoolhouse Rock?
And they're sitting on top of
just
Capitol
a bill.
Hill.
Yep, exactly.
Did you just praise a Democratic bill?
I did.
Who are you?
Yeah.
I did.
If you done with it,
I'm bipartisan.
He did it by accident, because it's an extra story.
Stop it.
You know, Jenny Beth would have covered the story and not brought that up, but Jason has to put his spin on it, you know, and say, yeah.
But bro, when there's good Democrats, I acknowledge them.
It's not going to happen. This is not even a story.
I acknowledge good Democrats when I see good Democrats.
Yeah, it's only a bill.
It's very rare.
A big nothing burger. So this is a non-story according to Jason Beck's criteria.
Jason identifies as bipartisan.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, y'all. Expungement does not restore everybody's rights. It is a feel-good bullshit thing. It is not a pardon. You do not get your Second Amendment right back. And in the expungement was a tool from before the internet when maybe you could scrape that information from public view. It doesn't provide what people think it provides. It gives people a feel good. It's like one of them chalky little Valentine's Day candies that says, hug me. And you go, oh, that's so sweet. And then you bite into it and it just tastes like paste and sugar. It is not what people think it is. And so I think we need to start asking ourselves, what is the intended result we're trying to create for the people who got tied up or justice involved over the plant? Because if it's clearing the deck, if it's having no issues and nothing following after you into the rest of your life for the decisions you made during a period of prohibition, expungement doesn't do it.
We want licenses. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants a business. We want a license.
Well, and a pardon, like mass pardons.
Yeah,
like let's go through.
The Weldon-Angelos Act will do what you just said. If they sign that into law, it gives us, if you get a pardon, it gives you your full rights back. So yeah,
he's wicked smart, and he's wicked smart. You hear that when you talk to that guy, you can like feel the IQ pouring out of his eyeballs. He's wicked smart, and that pardon and the restoration of rights versus the expungement feel good. It's a much greater outcome.
Jason Ortiz to dance in front of him and say it's a good job, and Harold Morris is still in prison. That's what they do. It's a big scam.
One big scam, you guys. Big scam.
I mean, look, it's a step in the right direction, but it's a half step, not a full step.
It's not the first step.
I'll keep my felony.
It's not the first step.
Baby steps are good first steps, right, Jason?
Hey,
not when they're selling billions of dollars worth of the same thing we're incarcerated for. They need to get it together. Faster would be better.
All right, guys. Well, Jenny Beth, you have anything you want to say?
No, you guys covered it.
Okay. All right. We covered it. We covered it, you guys.
Jenny Beth Dills is just lurking today.
Yeah,
I dig it, man.
Yeah, lurking. On a recovery mode today.
Okay. All right. Yeah, had a long night last night.
Let's roll, Rico. Let's roll.
Yeah. Nothing a little can bumps can't fix. Anyway, thank you all for joining us for another episode of High at 9 News. You can catch us live weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to super fans getting their comments posted live on the big screen. We had a couple of ones today.
Yes, we had a brand new one. Moy something. Moy, where are you?
Moy.
Yeah, Moy. Yeah, we want Moy. We want Moy of that.
We need more moisture.
Yes.
How about that?
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it anymore on my feed. I don't understand why they disappear. Oh, here we go. Moy Freestyle Life. And Lyfe, he spells it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Give
the
a
strain
shout
of
out to
weed.
Yarrow and his conservative journey he's going on now.
Not a conservative journey. I lost a bet because I didn't think Mr. Fogelman was going to get released from Russia as quickly as the Trump administration was able to take credit for. And so I lost a bet. I'm a good loser. I'm a better winner. And in that bet, I said that I would change my party affiliation for the next election, and I'm willing to do that.
Well, you know how to be. You know how you can up your game into being a even better winner is being a full conservative. Right, Jason?
He will be. Don't worry, bro. This is the first step. The first step is, change. You know what I'm saying? Then
here's the thing. At the end of the day, I don't care what I register to vote for. I'm happy that Fogelman is released. And I think that the emphasis should be on releasing more. And whoever can get that done is going to get some kudos and some feel goods from me. I don't care what color they fly. I don't care if they're man, woman. I don't care what their pronouns are. I don't care what their party affiliation is. I don't care if they have 3 legs and 16 eyeballs. As long as we are getting people out and people are using their platform, their position of power, their positions of influence to get more people out, then we're good. And that's
And while we're on that quick side note there, I would just like to state once again that Russia kept their quotas high. As soon as they let Fogel out, they arrested another person, another American.
And we covered that story, and he already got released too. Yeah,
Mr. Marmalade.
Yeah, Marmalade. Yeah, Mr. Paddington Bear. Paddington Bear of cannabis.
Hey, man, big love to all the rest of our online supporters and audience catching us across all media platforms, tuning in each day to the headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry, to our vetted correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective and your respective opinions to the table. Travis over there doing the damn thing in them streets. Love to see that too. Our production team, Cloud Media Partners, all the sponsors keeping the lights on. AV struggles to a minimum as always. Cannabis Sativa L, the reason why the High 9 News team reads these headlines every single day. Thank you. It has been Talk About It Tuesday, February 25th. 2025. The show's over. You've all been blessed with the top industry headlines. Hope it's enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. My name is Rico Lamitte, dopest dad on the street for High 9 News, cannabis industry's #1 daily news show. We're gonna pop this thing right back out to the angry conservative himself, Yarrow Kubrin.
Look, I'm just going to tell our viewers what they already know. This is like the only daily news show where you get to hear people talk about the previous trailing 24-hour news cycle of cannabis and hemp news, and where you get to hear all of these talking heads agree and disagree, sometimes with a level of politeness, often with a level of levity, and come back tomorrow. Smash the like button, like and subscribe, and there'll be more from me and the rest of this motley crew soon enough.
Well said, Yarrow. Go ahead, run it, Anthony.